I bet your boss can last 10 minutes. Ying covered her blushing face. I bet the boss can last 15 minutes. However, only 10 seconds had passed when they discovered the car had stopped rocking. At this moment, I was panting heavily, and sweat had already wet my forehead. I didn't know why I couldn't do it. Manhwa expressed some remorse, saying it was her fault for not being attractive enough. But I understand that it's not her problem. It's an issue with my own body. I remember what Su Qinglang once said. I am currently using the body of Su Lu. Usually, there won't be any problems with the body. But sometimes he will have abnormalities. Until now, I understand his meaning. Because I hate Su Lu in my heart, I also have the same disgust for this body. I said goodbye to Manhwa and returned to the bookstore alone. Ying was lying on the freezer, looking at me curiously. Boss, you must be tired today. But I don't feel like talking to her now. I rolled over and prepared to go to sleep. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself above a large pool of water. The water beneath my feet is searing hot. Everything looks somewhat familiar. Wasn't I sleeping in the bookstore? How did I end up here? Then a man's voice came from behind me. You're here. I suddenly turned around to look back. It was a young man in a black hoodie. There is also an animal resembling a cat at his feet. Don't be nervous, this is a dream. It's normal for us, as dead people, to dream about returning to hell. The man in the hoodie cannot see his face clearly, but he gives me a sense of familiarity. Who are you? Who I am is not important. Here, names are meaningless. They are coming to catch me. The man's words are strange, but I immediately understood. Catch you? Why are they catching you? Are they catching you to take you back to hell? The man did not answer my question. He just chuckled and then turned away. Looking at the man's back, I remembered something. The old Taoist who once gave me just paper had said, a boss who runs an underworld shop in Rong City. You are the one in Rong City. The man in black stopped. Do you know me? I've heard an old Taoist mention your name before. The man heard me mention the name old Taoist. So he reached out and pointed to the pool of water below. He said to me, do you still remember this place? After saying that, he then pulled me to swim together under the water. The bottom of the pool was extremely clear, allowing us to see very far. Have you noticed something missing here? The man in black asked. It was only then that I suddenly remembered the faceless woman was missing. The man in black let out a soft drink. Now! Blood-red eyes appeared in the water at this moment, and a sense of extreme danger instantly spread throughout my body. I reached out with my jet-black nails. I looked at the man with some caution. But the man pointed at my feet. Look at yourself, he said. I suddenly lowered my head and looked down at myself. What is this? Layers of black hair are entwined around my body. I am somewhat surprised. I don't know when these hairs appeared. And yet, I had not noticed at all. The man in black clothes said to me at this time, don't you understand it yet? She has already come to find you. Have you ever seen such a strange girl? Bai Wu, she is her father's good girl. But as soon as night falls, she becomes her father's wife. It turns out that when the girl was 16 years old, her mother passed away. But subconsciously, she cannot accept this fact. So she created another mother in her own mind. Over time, she developed a second personality in her mind. Just now, Zhou Ze saw off the mother and daughter. I was worrying about my own performance. But I saw the father of the little girl walk in. It turns out that Wang's friend's daughter has schizophrenia. As a doctor, he should have helped the girl get rid of her so-called second personality. But that friend, because he misses his wife too much, he doesn't want to get rid of her daughter's second personality. He wants to have his daughter at the same time. He also wants to feel the presence of his wife through his daughter. But this has also led to the confusion of the girl's personality. So he wants to ask Zhou Ze for help in treating this girl. But Zhou Ze doesn't want to help Wonka's friend because he believes that the father's love for his wife is actually a selfish disguise. But Zhou Ze was somewhat shocked when Wonka called out his name. He didn't know when the other party had discovered his identity, so Zhou Ze had to agree. He couldn't refuse Wonka. Just like when he went to Wonka's house to look for her in the first place. After he mentioned Zhou Ze's name, Wonka immediately put down his work to help himself. Soon, the two of them arrived at Wonka's friend's house. Just as the two got off the car, a butler quickly came up. The butler's face looked a bit unpleasant. He said that their young lady was a bit different this time. Following the butler's guidance, the two entered the villa quickly. A man with a worried look on his face was standing outside the house. He was the father of that girl, Mr. Zheng. "How is Mr. Zheng Pingping doing?" Wonka spoke up and asked Mr. Zheng directly. Mr. Zheng just pushed the door open and said, "See for yourself." Zhou Ze and Wonka walked in. When they saw what was in front of them, they were a little stunned. Only to see in the center of the hall, a young girl in a dress was dancing gracefully. She was singing opera tunes with an accent in her mouth. From a young age, alone and without support, feeling lost and helpless. Climbing high into the blue sky in career, and falling into ruins and death, truly lamentable. Born with a good appearance, but inside was uncouth. Men have gold under their knees, but you have nothing to do with it. In the end, it turned out to be a wasted life in this world. Singing, the girl seemed to notice Zhou Ze who came in. The girl then let out a scream, and she was so scared that she sat paralyzed on the ground. Pointing at Zhou Ze with trembling fingers, she asked, "Who are you? How can you be inside his body?" Zhou Ze was surprised that the girl in front of him could actually see that he was a ghost, or more accurately, that she could see he had two life essences. One is Su Li's body, and the other is Zhou Ze's soul. Just as Zhou Ze was contemplating this, the girl seems to have forgotten everything that just happened. She pushed the nanny beside her away and stood up. "Where is my husband? Has my husband come back home?" Zhou Ze was a little dazed. Has she switched to her mother's personality? The girl's father walked over at this moment. He then hugged the girl and started comforting his current wife. Wonka came to the balcony and asked Zhou Ze if he had figured out what was going on. Zhou Ze shook his head and said it probably wasn't possession by a ghost. At this moment, he suddenly noticed something wrong in the next room. The room was tightly covered by curtains, and for some reason, Zhou Ze always felt that there was something inside that made him very uncomfortable. Wonka said to Zhou Ze, "That's the girls' art studio." The two pushed open the door to the art studio. Zhou Ze's heart suddenly began to beat faster, and that sense of unease became even stronger. The butler walked over and said that Mr. Zheng was looking for him. Zhou Ze was alone in the studio and found that most of the paintings here were ordinary landscapes. At that moment, a painting covered with black cloth caught his eye. Zhou Ze immediately lifted the cloth off. On the painting was a skull, which seemed to be drawn by a girl from somewhere. That uneasy feeling is still lingering nearby. From a small cabinet in the corner, Zhou Ze found a black small notebook. Zhou Ze subconsciously flipped open the notebook. The girl's eyes showed a hint of green, and then she started making a big fuss again. On the other side, Zhou Ze did not notice the countless souls appearing around him, then directly entering his mind. Zhou Ze let out a painful roar, falling to the ground and repeatedly pounding the ground. His mind was filled with countless pieces of information from those souls, the terrifying information making it hard for Zhou Ze to bear. It turns out that the book records all the deceased individuals. No wonder the girl was able to sing opera songs. It seemed she had once opened this book before. Just as his fingernail touched the book, a burnt mark suddenly appeared in the middle of the skull on the cover. His fingernail uncontrollably started to grow rapidly and tightly stuck to the book. A dark aura began to flow into the book, making it extremely hot. The book seemed to have become attached to his hand, as Zhou Ze couldn't shake it off no matter how hard he tried. and the girl who was originally going crazy next door suddenly quieted down. She seemed to have found some sort of relief. The feeling of pain didn't last for too long. The booklet slipped from his hand. Zhou Ze hung his head low, sweat dripping down. He saw that the originally black-covered booklet now displayed 2 clear lines of blood words on the back. Underworld in order, Yellow Springs to be crossed. A mysterious black booklet, seemingly a credential from the underworld, the cover prominently stating, Underworld in order, Yellow Springs to be crossed. Zhou Ze picked up the booklet from the ground, discovering that the booklet, which had been scalding hot just now gave off a warm and gentle feeling, as if he had formed some eerie connection with it. Zhou Ze opened the booklet, only to find a palm print on the first page, with 2 lines of text below it. Name, Zhou Ze. Position, temporary Yama's servant. There were even traces of modification on his name. Zhou Ze was puzzled. Could this be the underworld rewarding themselves with work credentials? But that seemed unlikely since he spent most of his days slacking off and not working diligently. Turning to the second page, he found a simple line of text, 8%. It seemed to be a progress bar for his work. Surprisingly, he had only completed 8% of his tasks in 2 months. No wonder the little girl was so upset that she ran back from hell. If he could complete the progress bar to 100%, would his temporary status as Yama's servant become permanent? Transitioning from helping the little girl to having a formal position with benefits. Flipping to the next page, he realized that several sheets were stuck together, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't separate them. Perhaps it was because his rank was too low. He put the booklet into his pocket. Zhou Ze decided that he needed to quickly complete the task. Only by entering the system could he live peacefully in the mortal realm. On the other side, the girl named Ping Ping also woke up. It is likely that she was influenced by the booklet before. Now that the booklet has been taken away by Zhou Ze, Ping Ping naturally returned to normal. On the way back, sister-in-law called and said that Wanchio has not been feeling well recently and wants him to go and take a look. The car happened to pass by the hospital where Wanchio works. He had just walked into the emergency building. He saw a familiar figure. At this moment, Wanchio happened to turn her head and saw Zhou Ze approaching. "Why are you here, Zhou Ze?" she asked as Zhou Ze smiled faintly and replied that he just happened to pass by and was planning to come up and see her. Wanchio suddenly covered her stomach. She also let out a painful groan from her mouth. Zhou Ze, seeing the situation, quickly asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Your sister said that you have not been feeling well recently." Wanchio felt a little embarrassed and said that she just started her menstrual period. Zhou Ze felt speechless in his heart, but he thought that menstruation is also one of the most painful things for women. At this time, a woman's voice suddenly came from beside. "Do you know how to see a doctor? How is the child doing?" The woman stood with her hands on her hips, looking somewhat annoyed. "My brother is already 35. It wasn't easy for him to have this child." "Do you know how difficult it is?" The doctor opposite looks a bit nervous, frantically checking the medical records. She was stopped by Zhou Ze. He said, "Calm down. Actually, I used to be a doctor before I died. Don't you believe in my medical skills?" After speaking, he walked straight into the ward. After a thorough examination, he found that the woman's amniotic sac had ruptured, the cervix was fully dilated, and the amniotic fluid contamination was quite severe. The woman is 28 weeks pregnant. These are symptoms of premature birth. The young girl was frightened after hearing about premature birth. She grabbed Zhou Ze's arm anxiously, pleading with the doctor to save her sister and her baby. "It hasn't been easy for my brother to have this child. What's going on?" Zhou Ze glanced at the girl and said, "Ask your brother what's going on. This is caused by unclean sexual activity during pregnancy. When a man loses control, he's just a beast." The girl behind them exploded. "This can't be. My brother went to work in the big city years ago and hasn't come back in the past 6 months. Zhou Ze and the doctor felt awkward. They didn't want to inquire further about this matter. But at this moment, the doctor's pager goes off. The operating room in the obstetrics and gynecology department is ready. Shortly after, the pregnant woman was pushed into the operating room. At this time, Su Qinglang suddenly called. He said that the business at the store is a bit busy and asked Zhou Ze to come back quickly to take a look. Zhou Ze is a bit happy. I didn't expect that he would receive performance results as soon as he got his documents. He instructed Wanqiu to take care of Zhou Ze's health, and then he decided to leave. Walking on the stairs of the emergency room, Zhou Ze didn't know why. He always felt like someone was following him. He stopped in his tracks. Then he looked up, but found nothing unusual. Now he was no longer an ordinary person, but a servant of Yama. Not finding anything means there must be something strange. Zhou Ze squatted down, and then extended his own fingers. Black long nails appeared from the index finger. He gently tapped on the tile floor. The next moment, Zhou Ze was surprised to find that a black footprint appeared on the tile floor. I just became a temporary Yama's servant. I just encountered something dirty in the hospital. The floor is covered with dense black footprints. I followed the direction of the footprints. I arrived at the 4th floor of the hospital. The footprints disappeared in front of a ward. I think that thing is inside. But when I pushed open the door, I did not find anything unusual. There was only a woman taking care of her sick mother. Close the door as I'm about to leave. But after my nails touched the door handle, something unexpected happened. My hand felt an electric shock. I feel something is not right. I turned around to look back at the ward. The light inside the room suddenly went out for some reason. And then the light suddenly came back on again. Through the light, I finally noticed that there were no patients in the hospital room at all. It was clearly just a storage room. A gust of wind suddenly drifted out from the room. Looks like a ghostly creature trying to escape. I reached out towards the dark shadow, as if catching something. A tuft of black hair appeared in the palm of my hand. The hair was short and curly, unlike the long hair of the faceless woman, but more like the hair from certain parts of the human body. I didn't expect this ghostly creature to have cultivated successfully, and already had its own physical body. Since I have encountered it, I naturally cannot let it escape. I followed the footprints on the ground. I arrived at a corner of the hospital. Ahead is a guy wearing a white coat. He is leaning against the wall, seeming to be doing something. You are Yama's servant, I mean no offense. We mind our own business, and don't interfere with each other. Why do you keep pursuing relentlessly? The other party's voice was a bit hoarse, and the tone was somewhat strange, like that of an old person on the brink of death, preparing to make their final statement. I pointed at the other party and said, I am waiting for my woman to come out to pick me up. You can leave now. It's not good to make enemies. I can assure you that I will not do anything outrageous. Could this be the beginning of a human ghost love story? But at that moment, on the other side of the operating room, the young girl who had accompanied her sister-in-law for a premature delivery was walking out with a stack of money. Then she ran towards the payment counter. Looking at the girl's back, I thought of the premature pregnant woman in the next operating room. I said to the other person, Who are you? You're not her husband at all. The other person seemed a bit impatient but still replied, The woman I have my eyes on is my woman, and we have some unfinished destiny to fulfill. This is all sanctioned by the God in heaven. Although I don't know what he meant by karmic affinity, but the pregnant woman inside is currently in surgery. If we let this evil creature cause trouble, it could lead to double disaster. But just as I was about to remind the other party suddenly turned around. You, Yama's servant, are so gutsy. You are nothing but a lowly servant at the bottom level of the underworld. Don't just salute but refuse to drink. Prepare to be punished. The other party turned around. I only got a clear look at its appearance now. It's wearing a doctor's white coat. Most of its body is rotted away. even its bones are missing. It is horrifyingly a formed Yogwai monkey. A monster actually does not put me, a Yama servant, in its eyes. Although I am just a temporary worker, I belong to the Hell Department after all. What are you? I reach out my dark nails, watching the Yogwai monkey opposite me vigilantly. The eyes of the monkey emit 2 red lights, gnashing its teeth and making squeaking sounds. The next moment, suddenly, black holes appear all around. Long tails swarm towards me one by one. I dodge the attack of the Yogwai monkey with a quick move. Then I spread out my hands. I let my black nails grow out completely. But at this moment, the black book in my pocket suddenly starts to heat up slightly. It can't wait to deal with this monster Yogwai monkey. Yogwai monkey suddenly knelt down with a thud. It kept knocking its head against the ground with its hands on the ground, begging for mercy, repeatedly calling out, "Manor Lord, please spare me. I know my wrongs." I was a bit stunned as I watched this scene. I don't know if this monkey has gone crazy or not. But the booklet clearly states that my position is a temporary Yama servant. The original owner of that booklet must have been an amazing person. Clearly, the booklet still retains its aura. This made Monkey mistakenly think I was the owner of the booklet. But since Monkey backed down, I have to keep up this act. I walk up to Monkey, pointing a finger at the center of his eyebrows. "Give your soul blood to the Manor Lord." Monkey's face was full of fear as he obediently replied, "I will follow the Manor Lord's orders." After speaking, a black soul blood emerged from the center of its brow. I grabbed the soul blood in my hand and only felt the terrifying aura emanating from it. I have no idea where this monkey came from. Just at this moment, the soul blood suddenly got stuck. No matter how I tried to pull, it remained still. I suddenly realized that I was careless. My own strength is simply unable to absorb such a huge amount of soul blood. Monkey, who was originally full of awe, also paused for a moment. It was considered an honor for the superior Manor Lord to take away its soul blood, and it was unable to resist. Why is it so difficult for the Manor Lord to extract even its own soul blood? Yogwai monkey realized that it had been deceived. It let out a fierce roar, and then reached out its paw towards me. I felt like I was hit by a big truck, my whole body crashing into the wall behind me. Just before being knocked away, I shattered Monkey's soul blood with a single blow. But Yogwai monkey did not die immediately. Instead, it became extremely violent. "Damn you, you scoundrel! How dare you impersonate Manor Lord?" Yogwai monkey burst out of the white coat and pounced towards me. It directly knocked me to the ground. "This is my destiny. You are just a little Yama servant. Why do you come to obstruct? Do you really think you are the 10 Yama kings?" I didn't respond to Yogwai monkey's words because he grabbed my neck. I struggled to extend my black nails. And then I fiercely stabbed into the body of the Yogwai monkey. The opponent let out a painful roar, and its soul power inside started to constantly drain away. It finally exhausted all its soul power and fell weakly to the ground. I felt a little frightened. If it weren't for the opponent mistakenly thinking that I am the Manor Lord. Let me draw out the opponent's soul blood. I'm afraid that the one lying on the ground right now is me. It was originally a monkey that had cultivated successfully in the mountains, enduring arduous cultivation for 3 cycles of jiazi. Finally, it glimpsed the secret of the heavens and obtained the great Tao. It rescues lost travelers in the mountains, drives away mountain monsters, ghosts, and spirits, and protects the safety of the people. Who would have expected that at the moment of its 4th reincarnation, it found a man who had fallen into a valley in the mountains. Its companion found the man and rescued him. I didn't expect the man to be ungrateful. He captured it, saying, "This monkey is so clever. Eating its monkey brain must be very nourishing." So, the man killed it and used it to nourish his wife. The monkey's body was destroyed and could only enter the cycle of reincarnation, transferring to the animal realm. Due to its lingering aspirations, its spirit could not enter hell and could only descend the mountain to settle karma and achieve liberation. So, it found the man's wife and made her conceive its child. Although I sympathize with the monkey's situation, this is not a valid reason for it to violate someone else's wife. Regardless, the child in the woman's womb is innocent. The monkey was lying on the ground, almost out of breath, but still asked me in retort, "You are a human, I am a beast. You serve humanity, and I serve animals. Serving humans and feeding animals is natural and just, as per the laws of heaven and earth. But if animals repay kindness with enmity, it goes against the heavenly Tao, doesn't it?" Then I nodded. I did not want to deny it, nor did I want to deny it. When the moment of Tao cultivation was about to be achieved, it was destroyed by the person I saved. Anyone would harbor resentment in their heart if placed in my position. Looking from a human standpoint, the monkey, in seeking revenge, almost caused a great tragedy. I crouched down, looking at the suffering monkey on the ground. "You are in great pain, aren't you? Let me help you find release. You are in great pain, aren't you? Let me not help you find release. I will try to send your soul to hell, monkey." Closing my eyes, I uttered the last word from my mouth. But before I could act, the soul of the monkey began to dissipate. It couldn't fulfill its own wish, so its soul couldn't enter hell either. After burying the monkey's body, I sat exhausted under a tree. The spirit of monkey couldn't be found. It seemed that it had already dispersed. Why did I have to meddle in the matters of the mountain spirit and demons? I took out my phone and sent Wanchio a message inquiring about the well-being of the pregnant woman and her child. After 5 minutes, Wanchio finally replied to the message, saying that the mother and child are safe, except the child is deformed with a monkey tail. I feel a bit weary and somewhat confused. Following the guidance of the street lamps, I walked on the path in the park. At this moment, an old man with white hair suddenly appeared behind me. "Sir, are you feeling down?" I turned to look at the old man upon hearing his question, then replied faintly, "A little." The old man followed me, walking at a steady pace. He continued, "Sir, is it because of that monkey, or is it because of the contaminated baby?" I didn't answer until I reached a red light at an intersection. I then told the old man behind me, "This matter is not about right or wrong." The old man stood behind me and said, "Anything has two sides. Nature can also distinguish right from wrong. The monkey was originally a good monkey. It even did more good deeds than those so-called good people in the crowd. It cultivated diligently, but was killed by the one it saved. What would you think if it were you, sir?" I didn't turn around. "Are you suggesting that I was wrong?" If it were me as the monkey, I would feel very angry. This situation would be difficult for anyone to accept. After the anger, the old man continued to inquire, "If given the chance, would you seek revenge?" I responded resolutely, "But you intervened and prevented its revenge. Even after you knew the truth, you still personally ended it. Do you think you did the right thing?" Facing the old man's question, I maintained my previous answer. There is no right or wrong in this matter, only that the child is innocent. The old man continued to say to me, "So, according to your logic, if monkey only targets men, you wouldn't intervene, right?" I was silent for a moment, then pointed at myself. "I am a human being. From a human standpoint, I wouldn't allow any outsider to harm humanity." But what the old man said next struck fear into my heart. "You are not human. You are a ghost. You are Yama's servant. You should be neutral and uphold the rules of the underworld like a referee. If you act as both referee and player, then do the rules matter in this world?" I walked on the sidewalk, not quite understanding the meaning of what the old man said. The old man looked at me ahead and just said 2 consecutive sentences. "You are a good person. You are a good person." Standing from a person's perspective, I can indeed be considered a good person. I stopped, turned back to look at the old man and asked, "Are you trying to give me a good person card? Are you just catching up to label me as a good person?" The old man shook his head, then bowed and said, "No, I am a servant left by the master, and you have inherited the master's identity badge. With this taken away, you are now my new master." A smile played at the corner of my mouth. I didn't expect to pick up a good item, and also inherit an old grandfather. The old man bowed his head at this moment and said, "The master once instructed me to inform his successor. This sentence is also left for me, the servant." I stood still, waiting for the old man's next words. The old man smiled at this point. "The master once said, if his successor is a good person," he said halfway through. A sharp blade pierced through my body. The old man stood behind me. Another hand plunged into my body. He lifted me up in the air. Everything happened so swiftly, so abruptly. I kept coughing up blood. I didn't even have the slightest mental preparation. The master said that if his successor is a good person, then kill him. The old man calmly recited the master's last words as instructed. I found a mysterious black notebook. I did not expect that it was actually the heritage token of the Manor Lord of the Underworld. However, the Manor Lord left a dying message for his servants. If the heir is a good person, then he must be killed. The old man raised his arm and pierced my body directly because he thought I was a good person. He looked at me calmly. He didn't seem to be killing someone, as if he was throwing away trash. Then he said to me, "Do you think that the modified location on the document should be the name and position of the Manor Lord? But in fact, it also hides the names and positions of the previous 8 heirs." Fresh blood kept overflowing from the corner of my mouth. I said to the old man, "Were the previous 8 deceased heirs all good people?" However, the old man said, "I am the only good person among the 9. I was a bit confused as to why even if they were not good people, they would still be killed. The old man tilted his head slightly, revealing a hint of helplessness. "Because when I asked them if they were good people, they all thought that answering yes would be more beneficial to them. And then they all died," he said. After finishing his words, the old man clenched his right hand again, and I gradually lost my breath. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself sitting at a dining table. There were neatly arranged tableware in front of me. There was also a piece of grilled meat on top. And the old man sitting across from me, with a gentle expression, said to me, "Sir, you are awake. I have grilled some meat for you. It tastes very good. You can try it." The old man's words made me confused. "Didn't you say you wanted to kill me? What does this mean?" I was somewhat surprised. I didn't expect my identity card to be damaged to this extent. As he spoke, he pushed the booklet in front of me. Because the identity card left by the master cannot withstand another process of recognizing a new master, otherwise it will directly shatter and lose all its functions. The old man raised the wine glass in his hand, a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. "Congratulations, sir. I will not kill you today. It is your lucky day. Please be sure to taste my craftsmanship. When the old master was here, I was responsible for the daily meals." "Did you poison me?" I asked the other person directly. After all, he previously mentioned that I was his master and then pierced my chest with one hand. "You're overthinking it. I don't need to go through all that trouble to kill you." What he said makes sense, because killing me is simply a trivial matter to him. I lifted the fork and put a piece of meat into my mouth. I didn't expect the meat to have an excellent texture. It melted in my mouth, and I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. After I finished eating, the old man suddenly asked me, "Was it delicious?" I ate a few more pieces of meat, and told him it was not bad. Then he asked me, "What do you want to do next?" The old man's face revealed a kind smile. "After the meal, sir, you are free to leave. I will not restrict your freedom." I found it somewhat absurd. Is it really just going to end like this just because my identity token is damaged? Is it truly just because of my good luck? I remember you mentioned that the Manor Lord wanted an heir who is an envoy, right? No, the will of the Manor Lord must be followed without any discount. I don't understand what he means. The old man reached out and patted the position of his chest. "The answer is right in your heart." I suddenly thought of something. I suddenly lowered my head and looked at my chest. There was a black hole in the position of the heart. My heart was missing. The elder opened his hands. "I have applied the best ointment to your wound. It will recover in a few days. You don't need to thank me or be polite. I thank your mother's ass. I've lost my heart. Do I still have to thank you? The old man pointed at the plate I had used. You had just said that the taste was good. Without a heart, there is no extra worries. You can have a more comfortable life in the future. A good person without a conscience, no matter how good he is not good. I am a bit angry, grabbing the tablecloth tightly with both hands. You'd better kill me now, otherwise I will never let you go. The old man's face remained calm. He patted his chest with his hand and said, Sir, you have no chance for revenge. My lifespan has reached its end. When you leave here, I will also dissipate. I picked up the book on the table, stood up, and walked to the door. I was very curious. Who exactly is the Manor Lord? After being deceived by the Bodhisattva who ran to hell, the Manor Lord no longer wanted to mention his own name. Seeing that the old man was not willing to tell me, I could only choose to leave. When I walked out of that door, I found myself in a desolate cemetery, and the door behind me had disappeared. Inside the room, the old man tapped the table with his hand. Come out. At the next moment, a golden macaque appeared in front of the old man. It scratched its ears and cheeks in a cute way. However, the monkey's body seemed somewhat illusory, indicating that it was not a real existence. Although debts must be repaid, what you did this time went too far. Even if the final consequence fell upon that baby, it should not have been your target for revenge. Everything is about cause and effect. Submit to the consequences. Do you understand, little one? The golden macaque shook its head and then nodded. The old man hugged the monkey in his arms. Don't blame me for bringing the soul you attached to the baby here. Let the merit of your 3 Jiazi cycles be a compensation for that child. Do not feel aggrieved. Let's end it here. I will arrange a new body for you. After you leave, whether you choose to cultivate again or just frolic in the mountains and forests, do not repeat today's actions. After speaking, the old man pushed open a door to the inner room. Inside, the room was completely empty with no furnishings. There was only an ink-washed painting hanging on the wall. In the painting, there is a towering mountain with a man wearing a purple crown and a yellow robe standing on the mountaintop. The scroll has turned yellow, and the man in the painting has long gone. Only the majestic mountain in the painting still stands there, overlooking all the other mountains. Can you imagine that the servant of the Manor Lord in the underworld is actually a monkey? And Zhou Ze, as a servant of Yama, actually stood on the side of humans and dealt with a monkey that was killed by humans. After Zhou Ze left, the servants of Manor Lord have settled the little monkey. Then he knelt in front of the portrait of Manor Lord. He looked at the scroll and murmured to himself, He is a good person. He is indeed a good person, but in my eyes he is a bad person. The old man's face darkened as he continued speaking. His face began to contort and turned into a beastly face covered in hair, with a jaw like a wrathful god. It turned out to be an old ape whose lifelong aspiration was to shoulder Mount Tai. In ancient words, he is known as the mountain-moving ape. His fierce face grimaced as he spoke. I have countless disciples who have endured difficult cultivation for 3 Jiazi cycles, enjoyed helping others, and were diligent in their cultivation. Why can he recklessly kill him just because he used to be human? Does that mean all non-humans that pose a threat to humans can act without considering right or wrong? Are they free to kill as they please? The old ape knelt with folded knees before the portrait of the Manor Lord, murmuring in the end. He stands from the perspective of a human, so he is a good person. I stand from the perspective of the monkey clan, so he is a bad person. The old ape let out a bitter laugh. So in the end, because of this, he couldn't make Manor Lord die. Is this what you mean? As he spoke, the old ape slowly lost vitality and sat quietly there. At this moment, the little monkey crawled out from the old ape's arms. It knelt in front of the old ape's body to pay its respects from a distance. Then it crawled into the body of the old ape. In the late night, Zhou Ze finally returned to the store. However, he was somewhat disappointed because the people in the store were all living beings. I saw the 4 people in the room holding the same pen with their hands. They seemed to be drawing something on the paper. At this time, Su Qinglang walked in. He was somewhat surprised to see the scene before him. Wow, these people are actually playing Pen Fairy at midnight. It is said that this game is very easy to be possessed by ghosts. And at this moment, those few people are really getting into it. One of them said, Pen Fairy, where are you now? Pen Fairy, can we meet a departed soul tonight? As soon as the man's words fell silent, the sound of a brush pen moving. The brush pen pointed straight at Zhou Ze. This startled Zhou Ze, and the brush pen happened to land on the word, yes. Then the bespectacled man began instructing his friends. It was time to set off. He also required everyone to record at least 20 minutes of video. The others all agreed readily. Immediately, he gave the tea money to Zhou Ze. He said they were going to the building across the street to catch ghosts, because they heard that there was a fire at the Frenchensee there, and even casualties occurred. So they want to go over to try their luck and see if they can find any trace of ghosts. Zhou Ze was very puzzled. Do they really want to encounter supernatural events like this? The man with glasses said they are seeking excitement, and also some people from the club want to confess their love there. They have already set up the venue there. After saying that, he bid farewell to Zhou Ze and left. After everyone left, Su Qinglang couldn't help bursting into laughter. This time, they really saw you, the ghost. However, at this moment, the room suddenly went dark. Zhou Ze thought the power was out, and he walked out of the bookstore with Su Qinglang. Su Qinglang, hands behind his back, said to Zhou Ze, the popularity of this place is really bad. It's become like a haunted adventure club. The two of them were also puzzled why those people would confess their love in a place where lives had been lost. What did Zhou Ze see then? He said to Su Qinglang, look up quickly. A white figure fell rapidly from the opposite building, followed by a loud bang. In an instant, the ground was splattered with blood everywhere, even on Zhou Ze's face. Su Qinglang hurried over and said, come here quickly, and see if there's any chance of saving them. But at this moment, Zhou Ze appeared unusually calm. He expressionlessly wiped the blood off his face. Upon seeing Zhou Ze still standing there, Su Qinglang felt somewhat angry. Do you have no conscience? It's already this time, and you're still wiping your face. Under such circumstances, Zhou Ze was stunned. He suddenly remembered that he no longer had a heart. His heart had been dug out by that old man and made into roasted meat, consumed by his own stomach. No wonder I feel indifferent. Just because I am a good person. I had my heart taken away just because I am a good person. Because only by being heartless can I be a qualified servant of Yama. Just now, a female corpse fell in front of me, fresh blood splattered onto my face. I calmly wiped the blood off my face, but Su Qinglang angrily cursed at me, questioning if I am still human with no conscience. He wouldn't know that my heart has been taken away, and I no longer have a conscience. After finishing the recording, Su Qinglang and I left the police station. He asked what kind of person the killer might be. At that moment, I recall the woman jumping off the building, clearly wearing a white outfit, but after falling to the ground, her clothes turned red. This may not be an ordinary murder case. It could involve some paranormal events. If I can send the killer to the underworld, then I won't have to worry about my own achievements. Upon returning to the bookstore, I came to the table where a few people were playing the pen fairy. Because when the pen pointed at me, I felt a palpitation in my heart, as if something was staring at me. After hearing what I said, Su Qinglang was a bit angry. He grabbed my collar and said, if you noticed something was wrong, why didn't you stop them at that time? I gave Su Qinglang a cold look, and he couldn't believe it, saying, you were not like this before. You used to be a doctor. Why have you become so cold-blooded now? I didn't dare look Su Qinglang in the eyes. What I need to do now is not to lament the past, but to find the hidden murderer and send him to hell. Didn't you used to always mock me, saying I had no goals in life? Now that I have become Yama's servant, I naturally have to do my job well. Su Qinglang is somewhat disappointed in me. You can take your time to investigate. I won't serve anymore. After Su Qinglang left, I broke into a cold sweat. Damn it, I must find the guy as soon as possible, otherwise someone will die. But when I thought about it this way, a sudden pain struck my chest. Clearly my wound had healed, and I could feel my heart beating. Why did I feel pain? I remembered the words that the old man had said, a person, as long as they have lost their conscience, no matter how good they are, they won't amount to anything. Su Qinglang had just walked out of the bookstore when he noticed someone standing on the building across the street. The police officers around were shouting loudly, "What are you doing? How did you let someone run to the crime scene?" However, the next moment, the person on the rooftop jumped directly. With a loud thud, they fell to the ground. Su Qinglang stood still in place. He stared blankly at the figure on the ground, everything the same as just now. People were dropping like dumplings, one after another, dying in succession. At that moment, I suddenly felt a pair of eyes appeared above me. It is not inside the bookstore at all, but above, overlooking everything. It controls the brush, then deliberately points at me. Is it ignoring my presence? It knows I am a Yama's servant, yet it intentionally provokes me. I went to Su Qinglang's shop and learned the identity of the deceased from him. The man's name is Chen Yinong, the man who wanted to confess his love. I called Su Qinglang, and we went to the building across the crime scene. He didn't understand why we were here. The building across was obviously the crime scene. You are also considered a Xian cultivator. Why would you think that ghosts' way of killing should be the same as humans? I told him my speculation. It should be standing in our current position. It manipulated the brush, and then pointed it at me. It doesn't mind offending me. It doesn't even mind killing someone in front of me, Su Qinglang murmured, saying, "Won't that be very dangerous for us?" I turned back to look at him. That's why I called you to join. I treat you as a brother, so let's die together. Isn't that very romantic? Su Qinglang is a bit frustrated. Who wants to die with you, you creepy psycho? At least notify me earlier, so I can bring some artifacts over. I no longer pay attention to the crazy Su Qinglang. I have arrived at a window seat. I am standing here. I can clearly see the crime scene across the street. Just at that moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. "Long time no see, kid." I looked back and saw. It turns out to be an acquaintance. An old Taoist dressed in Taoist robes appeared in front of me. In an abandoned commercial building. Surprisingly, 2 consecutive jumping suicides occurred. No one knows that all of this is actually being manipulated by an evil ghost from behind. As Zhou Ze, a servant of Yama, discovered the whereabouts of the evil ghost. So he went to catch the ghost with his good brother, Su Qinglang. Zhou Ze did not expect that he would encounter an acquaintance at the scene of the crime, the old Taoist who had once given him joss paper. The old Taoist was ready to give Zhou Ze a hug when he saw him. "Brother, long time no see." Su Qinglang standing by did not recognize the old Taoist, and thought he was the fierce ghost who committed the murder. He bit directly into his index finger, then touched it to the old Taoist's forehead. By the boundless powers of heaven and earth, the supreme law of the mystic heart. The old Taoist's face immediately darkened. "Are you sick, lady? Just greet me if you want to greet. Why smear blood on the old Taoist's face?" As he spoke, the old Taoist took out a piece of talisman paper from his bosom. "Here, come, let this poor Taoist show you a custom from our hometown." However, before the old Taoist could make a move, Zhou Ze immediately grabbed the old Taoist by the neck. His hand exerted a slight force, and the old Taoist felt as if he had been shocked. The old Taoist immediately passed out. The 2 individuals ignored the unconscious old Taoist. Zhou Ze came to the front of a chair. Behind, there was actually a woman lying there. The woman's body was covered with wounds, and there was not a single intact spot on her. Zhou Ze, who used to be an emergency room doctor in his past life, was shocked by the sight of this woman. The fact that she had managed to survive until now was truly miraculous. Zhou Ze opened the door to hell. He is about to send the woman back to the underworld. But at this moment, the unconscious old Taoist actually woke up. He grabbed Zhou Ze's hand and pleaded, "Please don't do this. I beg you to spare her." But Zhou Ze ignored the plea from the old Taoist. He reached out and grabbed the woman's forehead directly, pulling a strand of black soul out of the ground. However, Zhou Ze was surprised to find that although the woman's body was extremely weak, her soul was unexpectedly strong. However, at this moment, a pin suddenly floated up. The pin stabbed directly at Zhou Ze. Zhou Ze dodged the incoming pin with a swish. But what he didn't expect was, the true target of this pin isn't him, but rather Su Qinglang behind him. The pin tip stopped above Su Qinglang's throat, scaring him to not dare move an inch. Zhou Ze looked at the woman on the ground. He understood that she was controlling everything. He glanced at Su Qinglang behind him. Zhou Ze actually disregarded Su Qinglang's life and death. He reached out directly towards the woman, and at that moment, the pin tip suddenly moved and stabbed into Su Qinglang's neck. The woman did not wake up, but for Zhou Ze, this was a silent threat. Although she could not do anything to Zhou Ze, she could threaten those around him. Those two people who jumped off the building are very pitiful, aren't they? Zhou Ze suddenly spoke. Why didn't you go to remind them last night, even though you drive during the day? You also said I am different from before. Su Qinglang was somewhat surprised, not understanding why Zhou Ze suddenly brought up these things. Zhou Ze turned around and gave Su Qinglang a cold look. So, I think you must be willing to take revenge on your own for them. Su Qinglang found it somewhat unbelievable. He wanted to say something but couldn't get it out. At this moment, Zhou Ze suddenly covered his chest with his hand. The other hand is pressing on the ground, supporting him in distress. Cold sweat keeps appearing on his face, and it seems like he is still saying something with his mouth. I shouldn't have intervened in Su Qinglang's life and death. Originally, a place without a heart should have lost its conscience. Then he went to complete his task as Yama's servant. But he insists on trying to save Su Qinglang's life by force. He has a little bit of conscience. Unexpectedly, a pang of pain struck his chest. The pain made him feel like he was dying. The pin also fell down. Old Taoist saw this. He hurriedly walked to the side of that woman. He looked at Zhou Ze, old Taoist, in pain on the ground and took out a talisman paper. Brother, I'm sorry. I must save this person. She finally escaped from Rome City. I cannot let her die at your hands. After saying that, he was about to attack Zhou Ze. But at that moment, a white-haired hand suddenly appeared behind old Taoist. He lifted old Taoist up with one hand. Then old Taoist was ruthlessly thrown out. The one who took action was Su Qinglang. He controlled a human skin puppet and looked at old Taoist with a stern face. Let them go. Who will then hold those two responsible for jumping off the building? Old Taoist kept shaking his hands and said, We didn't kill those two people. We wanted to save them, but they refused to listen, insisting on seeking death. Zhou Ze recovered at this time. The woman on the ground seemed to have exhausted her last bit of strength. Do you think we will believe such words? Old Taoist spoke up at this moment. Brother, she is also a member of our underworld shop. She is a friend of our boss. She got injured to help our boss. Zhou Ze's hand reaching out to the woman stopped. He didn't expect that this woman turned out to be that person's friend. He had once been reminded by that person in a dream. Therefore, he only knew about the faceless woman because of that. Speaking of it, he seemed to owe him a favor, Zhou Ze thought to himself. Just then, a severe pain struck his chest, as if some curse would afflict him whenever he had a little conscience. Zhou Ze endured the discomfort, and stood up to look at the old Taoist on the ground. Take him away, and never appear in front of me again, he said to the people around. The old Taoist showed a pained expression on his face and said, Big brother, we have nowhere else to go. I brought her here to seek refuge with you. Those people wouldn't expect us to hide here. Are you being hunted? Zhou Ze looked at the old Taoist and asked. The old Taoist revealed a difficult-to-express truth. Yes. Those guys are elusive. Mirrors, crowds, underground, they can appear anywhere. It's just luck that we managed to escape. Zhou Ze glanced at the woman on the ground. Her injuries were severe, and she couldn't hold on much longer. Once her physical body is destroyed, only her soul state remains. She will soon be discovered by them. I don't want to meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, next time a group of Yama's servants will come directly to the bookstore. But at this moment, the pens on the ground started moving again. Zhou Ze's face changed, and he looked over alertly. I only saw the pen write a few words on the paper. Save me! I will give you my heart!